Hello, hello. I am Adrian. I'm also known as Capricorn Tigress of Astrology, a lookinside.com. I'm here to talk about Pluto in the first house. I did a search on my channel just to find out what the most looked up or searched terms were when people were coming or landing on my astrology channel. And a lot of people, well, Pluto in the first house was one of the top searches. So people want to know about Pluto in the first house. And I think it's probably because I talk about it a lot that it might have popped up on someone's radar, because I do talk about Pluto in the first house a lot. And that's because I currently have Pluto going through my first house in the sign of Aquarius. Right now, Pluto is at 3 degrees of Aquarius. It's in my first house, but not only is Pluto in my first house right now, but Pluto is conjunct my Mercury, which sits at 3 degrees of Aquarius inside of my first house. So I'm going through obviously something serious, something important, I think. I'm really trying to be cautious about what I say about the current administration or Trump or anything like that, because I mean they seem to be very sensitive about people talking about them. I mean, you heard what he said about Rosie O'Donnell, right? So it's stuff like that. Like, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to say. I mean, I don't want to be Stephen Colbert. He just got fired from that cushy job simply because he's telling the truth. I mean, right now, and it's dangerous to tell the truth, and someone with Aquarius in the first house is really kind of obsessed about the truth, and my Mercury there. I'm just trying not to talk about those things. So it's when you add Pluto to, Mercury in the first house and Aquarius and what's going on. And so it has been so almost painful for me to watch what's been going on in America. It's strange. I feel like as an astrologer, because, Aquarius rules astrology, that too. But I just feel like we're on the way to another revolution. I've said it. I mean, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was the French Revolution. So I definitely feel like we're looking at a French Revolution situation. It's weird that it's oligarchy seems to be the issue. Because in a way, isn't that what it was before for them, the aristocracy, right? Their aristocracy. So we're dealing really with the same issue, the aristocracy versus the poor or the middle class, which is quickly turning into the poor. But that's the way it was there. It's an ugly time. So it's kind of horrific that we find ourselves looking at a similar time or a equally horrific time. I think what bothers me as an astrologer, though, is knowing that the planets are lined up to not really interfere with Pluto in Aquarius for quite some time. This goes from Uranus in Gemini to Neptune in Aries and Saturn in Aries. They're not set up to block anything that Pluto wants to do right now. I mean, the best that we can hope for is that whatever goes on, whether it's, as an individual or as a nation, that it's something that you want, and that it's it's mutually agreed upon. That's important. What scares me is that this is a time where I feel like racism and division based on othering people is prevalent. Intolerance, right? Intolerance for other people's flaws. I just posted on my page on Facebook. A friend of mine, I guess they thought they were being funny, but they had mentioned that they felt that my chin, like, what's wrong with your chin? What kind of filter are you using on your chin? And I'm like, I'm not using a filter. And she's like, what kind of Michael Jackson chin is that? Well, it's my chin, beyond. It's my chin. This is what I have, sadly. Something I'm really insecure about, by the way. But yeah, I've been told I've got a Michael Jackson looking face. And what can I do? I've got the combination of the eyes and the chin. I mean, what can I say? It is what it is. It's just like some people look at me and they don't see anyone nice. It's not because I'm not nice. It's because maybe the way my face is structured is not their vision of what a nice person is. Or I don't know. I've ceased stopping to care because these are all false narratives. But one of them is that, I look like Michael. I don't look a darn thing like Michael Jackson. But I do have a square jawline. And she's like, you always had a round face. I'm like, no, I've always had a square jawline. The issue was I had a fat face, so it hid it. But it's square. It's always been square my whole life. It's not anything that women are proud of. Most women don't want square jawline. They go and have surgery to have them shaved. And if I had surgery, I would do that. I probably would fix my nose. Because I don't have the right contouring on right now, but when I contour it looks really cute when I do it. But I've never had my nose done or anything like that. I just have a little nose that's just a button. And it's not like it's anything that I'm proud of or that I purposely done. And I do got a little round thing on my nose. I don't know why. Keep trying to fix that. Anyway, I am who I am. I've got this little round nose and this square chin. So I have this issue about people calling me things like Michael Jackson. Well, I kind of went off today and lost it. And one of the things I want to talk about with Pluto in the first house is the anger that Pluto in the first house brings. Pluto does make you angry, and there are hidden anger spots inside of me, I'm sure, that I've not even come across yet. But I realized today that, my friend making fun of my chin it hit a spot. It was a combination of me having Saturn in the first house by birth, so I'm already insecure about the way I look, and then having Pluto in the first house by transit. And it's already changing my looks. I mean, my goodness, I'm aging, right? I'm in that age where you age. And so you do resort to things like wearing, different types of hairstyles and different types of makeup styles and all different things, because you're conscious of it. You're consciously aware of your flaws. And I feel like Pluto in the first house in general makes people consciously aware of their flaws. You will feel your flaws. You know that they're there. And you can feel yourself. You might feel yourself aging, or you might go through an experience, because Pluto is such a life-changing event. You might go through some experience where you're ill, or where you've, life-threatening experience. I've had one of those, it does change you. And Pluto in the first house tends to do that. It is the phoenix rising from the ashes. So let's say, for instance, Pluto just got into your first house, and up until now, and I mean, you've not been anyone special, you've not done anything special, you're not sure about your health. I'm not sure about your health. Hopefully you're okay. But if so, then you might find that you're in a situation or a time span in the next 20 years where you are going to start to grow in your power. Pluto is a very powerful little planetoid that creates power wherever it goes. It's like having a nuclear power plant in a certain area of life. And when it's in the first house, that nuclear power plant is inside of you, inside of your body. Now, the thing about this is that you've got to find ways to get all that power out of your body in a way that doesn't destroy your body. And that's the issue with Pluto in the first house. It's one of those placements that you always hear about people going through incredible suffering or whatever. Now, it can lead to power, but you have to be ready to handle the power, accept the power, grab the power, be aware of the power. I mean, it's one of those things. Now, and we also have to realize we're dealing with Aquarius. So most likely whatever you're doing or wherever this power field is probably going to have something to do with either something like astrology or the metaphysical or something unique or different, out of the blue, AI perhaps, electronics, the space, witches, ghost hunters, I don't know. It's going to be something out there. It's not going to be normal. It's going to be like, what? Now, I know one of the things my daughter was talking to me about the other day, and I just thought it was amazing, was that there's something that would, I don't know if it's about seniors or mature dating, I don't know. Suddenly, youngins are going for older women, not just young older, but old women, and which is strange since I find myself to be an old woman right now. And I'm thinking, wow, when did that start? That the end thing is to, I guess, land someone like me, who is fairly attractive, I guess, in this late age, but they seem to be going for like the really old, like the Pamela Anderson type old women. I don't know. And I don't, this is something my daughter was talking about as a trend, and I'm thinking, how in the world did chasing after 60-year-old women become a trend? Or 70. I mean, I don't know how old is old. Like, is it 50, 60, 70? Like, what's going on? Crazy times. We live in crazy times where, the partner could be a machine, like an AI bot, or it could be an old woman or a young child. I mean, I don't know what the laws are. They are going for child marriage in some states. We live in strange, really strange times. And this is something that was spoke up in the Bible. At the end there would be strange times, whatever. I feel like we're there. I don't know if people realize that we're there. I don't know if people know how to handle the realization that we are there and that they're alive during that time. We're in a crazy time. Even if this is not the end of days, it's the fact that it's transitioning from one way of life to another. And some of the mindset is different, off a little. I don't sense that certain things don't seem to mean what they used to mean. There's something amiss. That's something else we'll talk about, because I've talked about the parallel worlds and the Mandela effect and stuff like that. We've got things going on. I think we've got things going on spiritually. I don't know to what extent these things are occurring spiritually, and what do we do about it? How do we get out of this situation that we find ourselves in, especially if it's abhorrent or it's not a direction we want to go in? do we have a choice to go in a different direction now, instead of going in the direction that we find abhorrent or doesn't seem to be fitting in with that's, certain things happening now are not even in my benefit. I mean, I'm a woman of color. There are certain decisions being made that are not in the benefit of women of color. And so I want to do things that I feel that are beneficial to my survival as a person. Like, I don't want to do anything stupid. Some people, I think, are making decisions that are kind of like, what? Why would you make that decision? That's not even in your best interest. And that's what I mean. I want to make sure I'm making decisions that are in my best interest, that are wise, and that I've, taken some discernment, and that, I'm not just reactive or over emotional. We have Jupiter in Cancer this year. Expect lots of reactive emotional outbursts all over the place from various people for various reasons at various times. I feel like until Jupiter is out of Cancer, emotions can go any direction, but I think this especially is going to be the time when emotions are going towards things like family. Now, to get back to Pluto in the first house, this is going to make you a very powerful entity if you have Pluto in the first house. Especially, if this was by birth, oh my gosh, but by transit, even with that, because Pluto stays in a sign for 20 years. That's a great chunk of life, no matter what age you are. But 20 years of your life makes a huge change. So the way you were when Pluto entered your first house may not be the way you are when Pluto enters your second house. The change will be that dramatic. It'll make that much difference in you as a person, as an individual, that it'll be noticeable to you. And also, I think the feeling of power that comes from you, that emanates from you, will also change too. This is a time to embrace your power. Pluto in the first house person. Don't hide now. Now, I just had this argument with one of my friends about, me going out and being more public and doing stuff and not being so much online. And I'm like, no, honey, there is a part of that could happen. But at this age, in my 60s, and, a person of color, I don't know if that's what I'm doing. Now, if it's about me going perhaps to, say, podcasts and things like that, I would do that. To do podcasts or even television shows, I would do that. But I'm not, not someone that just wants to go out and do book signings and stuff like that. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not a good live person, and I am lazy inherently. Whatever I do, it better take those things into account, because I'm sure that the only reason I'm not famous is because I am lazy. I've got a grand trine and what some would call a grand sextile. That's a lazy person. That's someone who just wants the good in life. They just want to be comfortable. And a Taurus moon in the 4th house. I just want to be comfortable. That's all I want. And Venus in the 10th house. I just want to be comfortable. So, I realize that. I don't know where your planets are if you have Pluto in the 1st house. What other planets are happening in your life. But I could tell you that Pluto in the 1st house is going to give you that craving for power, maybe an opportunity for power. Perhaps you stepping into power is your opportunity, is part of what happens with this transit. A lot of times what happens is when this transit comes in, that person is near death, like it's a near-death experience perhaps. And you really have to build yourself up from scratch. And, the phoenix rising from the ashes situation. So some of you with Pluto going through your 1st house may have experienced that, where you just feel like you had to rise up from the ashes. You had to become And I feel like, as a person who's been dealing with Pluto in the first house for a while now, because I've had Pluto go through Capricorn, I've lost 356. I always say 370 because, there's been a little weight fluctuation. So, let's just say 370 pounds. I lost 370 pounds from Ozempic, dancing. It's taken 10 years of my life. But I've changed. I am not the person I once was. Pluto came into my first house and has completely changed me. And I'm changing now, even now. Pluto in my first house on my Mercury, I think, is changing the way I communicate. And this is what you're getting now. This is me communicating to you and how I'm communicating about this Pluto in the first house experience. If you have Pluto in the first house, please let me know in the comments that you have Pluto in the first house. Okay, so once again, how is this going to affect you? Power, internal power, maybe power trips with other people, because when you're the powerful one, there are other people who want to come and test your power. So you might have that. It is transformation, usually a personal transformation, where you've changed, where you've improved, where you've regenerated. The word regeneration is almost synonymous with Pluto because it's known to regenerate or regrow or regroup or, resolidify wherever it goes. This is amazing because you might have been someone who was near the brink of death and it raised you from that. And I had that experience while Pluto was in my first house. And when that happens, it changes you because you realize that life is precious and, we could go at any moment. Everything. I mean, it's so much is not even in our hands, I don't think. I believe that so much is in the hands of the Almighty, and we are experiencing these things as spirits in our human bodies, but we can't really control them in the way that, say, the Almighty can. But you're going to get these lessons of power, whatever it might be, while Pluto is in the first house. You yourself might attain a level of power in whatever it is you do. It might be a power over yourself. And I feel like that's why I mentioned my weight loss, because that's the power I gained when Pluto got into my first house. I never in a million years ever thought I would wear a size 36 bra or a size 12 dress or an 810 shirt. Ever. I was over 500 pounds. I keep saying that because I want you guys to understand the miracle of what occurred. Like, it is not something I ever could even conceive. I'm still in shock over the change and the weight loss and the regeneration. Because at my age, I feel like, I don't know if I'm an Angela Bassett, but I want to think I'm an Angela Bassett for 62. And it makes me feel good. Like, it could have went either way. There were some moments in there where I was looking like dog meat. And I feel like that's why I love Pluto in the first house. It will come along and it will regenerate you. It will rebuild you. We can rebuild them. We can, it will be better, stronger. The $6 Million Man. Do, 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 do. I still remember that show. And I feel like some people are like that. Like right now, you're experiencing that $6 Million Man experience where you've been regenerated. And I feel like I am. I feel like, most people at 62 are not regenerating, or they're going down. Their batteries are wearing out. I'm not sure if mine are, because I get tired. I mean, I'm not going to lie. But sometimes I'll look at myself and I'm like, wow, for 62, I'm doing a lot better than I thought I was going to do when I was, say, 25. And I didn't think I was going to, turn out as well as things have turned out, because it was kind of touch and go in there. And some of you with Pluto in the first house might have experienced that with your life, that it was going a certain way, and now with Pluto in the first house, you feel that it's going perhaps in a different direction. And I would love it if you would share your personal story or experience with Pluto in the first house in the comments below. And needless to say, and I didn't want to bring it up, but Pluto is associated with death. It's also associated with sex and taxes, heavy things. So it might have heavy things like that involved in what your story is and what has occurred or what is occurring. And if that is the case, that's okay. Please share your story with me anyway. Okay. Much love to you, much light to you, many blessings to you for sticking with me throughout this entire video on Pluto in the first house and how it affected my life and how it could be affecting your life and the life of anyone who has to go through such a powerful transit. Okay. Much love, much light, many blessings. Be sure to like, share this video, subscribe to the channel. This is Adrienne, Capricorn Tigress of astrologyalookInside.com. Many blessings.